This video is a discussion on the United Nations SDG, which I mentioned, I think, at the start of the semester, would be the focus of your Lab 3 projects. This week, you are officially starting Lab 3, and I have posted a video on teamwork on Canvas. And so this is the second topic we are talking about this week, just to set the stage for Lab 3. Your Lab 3 project will be for you to design a prototype that is a solution to one or two of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that I will be talking you through in this video. So what are the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or the UNSDGs as we like to call them? The UNSDGs are 17 goals that have been set or identified by the United Nations as issues that we need to tackle globally. The goal is that these issues could be tackled, or solutions could be found to these issues by 2030. The UNSDGs are sequel to the UNMDGs, which are the United Nations Millennium Development Goals. And the UNSDGs are an expansion or an addition to the UN Millennium Development Goals. So we're going to spend time to go through each of the goals, and I'll explain them for the most part, but I hope that you'll also spend time just reading them up, researching on them, and getting to understand the UNSDGs a bit more. I've posted a video on Canvas. I'm not going to play the video here doing my video recording because I have posted this video on Canvas. Please listen to it. It's a nice, a jazzy, upbeat video that explains what the UNSDGs are. So we start with goal 1. Goal 1 is no poverty. Lots of people in the world live under $1 a day. So the question is, how can we use technology to alleviate poverty, to ensure that we do not have people living in extreme poverty? Goal number 2 is zero hunger. How can we use technology to ensure that people do not go hungry? About 800 million people go hungry each day. How can we use technology to ensure that does not happen? And also want you to think of hunger not just in terms of lack of anything to eat, but hunger could also be, yes, we're eating, but we are still starving our system because we're eating non-nutritious food. So how can we use technology to ensure that food we are eating is nutritious and beneficial to our bodies? Goal number 3, good health and well-being. Again, how can we use technology to ensure good health, accessible healthcare, accessible infrastructure that will support good health and well-being? And please just don't think of good health and well-being as just physiological health, but also your mental and emotional health is important. So again, how can we use technology to ensure that we have good mental health and emotional well-being? In the past, students have created technology that could help combat opioid addiction. Students have also created technologies that could help combat depression. They found out that depression sometimes is caused by lack of deep sleep, which is a particular stage in your sleep cycle. And so they came up with a system that could ensure that people get into a state of deep sleep. Goal number 4, quality education. How can we use technology to ensure that we have quality education across board, and education that is accessible and affordable to all? Just wanted to go back to goal number 3 to mention that I know that most people want to tackle COVID-19 issues, and they would see goal number 3 as being that goal that would afford them the opportunity to tackle COVID-19 issues. I just wanted to mention that goal number 3 is not the only goal that could help tackle COVID-19 issues. COVID-19 has lots of different facets, lots of different issues around COVID-19. We have seen that COVID-19 has actually exposed the lack of access to quality education. So you could tackle goal number 4 and still deal with the COVID-19 issue. Or you could tackle goal number 1, poverty, and still deal with COVID-19 issues, because COVID-19 has also exposed the huge socioeconomic gap that exists in our country and also globally. So please do not feel like if you want to work on COVID-19 issues, it's just got to be goal number 3. I think pretty much almost all the different goals can tackle different aspects of COVID-19. Goal number 5, gender equality. How can we use technology to ensure gender equality in the world? Goal number 6, how can we use technology to ensure everyone has clean water and also good sanitation? Good sanitation meaning proper disposal of fecal and urinal waste, extremely important, and in an affordable and accessible way to all. Goal number 7, how can we use technology to ensure we have affordable and clean energy? The key word here is affordable, because we have clean energy technologies, but the question is, are they affordable? And of course, we know the answer is they're not. How many people can afford a solar panel? How many people can afford wind turbines? So we've got to come up with innovative, affordable, clean energy technologies. So again, please, if you're dealing with goal number 7, remember the key word there is affordable. Goal number 8, decent work and economic growth. How can we use technology to fuel the economy, to ensure that everyone that needs a job gets a job and gets a decent pay too? Goal number 9, how can we use technology to ensure that we are driving innovation in industry and also in infrastructure? And please, when we talk about infrastructure, I just don't want you to think of roads and bridges, but also infrastructure for certain demographic groups or population groups. For example, we have a high population of homeless folks in California. So how can we use technology to create infrastructure for homeless people in California or in any other part of the world? Reduced inequality, how can we use technology to combat racial injustice in whatever form it presents itself, and all the other inequalities, whether it's gender inequality, how can we use technology to combat that? Goal number 11, how can we use technology to ensure we have sustainable cities and communities, meaning using sustainable materials to build and design cities and communities to ensure that we protect the environment and the health of people in those cities and in those communities. Goal number 12, how can we ensure that we're not producing more than we consume or consuming more than we produce, that we have a kind of balance or equilibrium in our consumption and production. Goal number 13, climate action. That is pretty self-explanatory. Global warming, how can we use technology to tackle global warming? Goal number 14, life underwater. How can we use technology to ensure that we preserve biodiversity underwater, we stop blast fishing, and also the depletion of coral reefs? Goal number 15, life on land. How can we use technology to preserve land and life on land? There's a lot of desertification going on in the world, meaning that some land that we have are fast turning into deserts. How can we use technology to remediate that and mitigate that? Students, I think 2 or 3 years ago, entered a competition with their Lab 3 project, and those students were working on land mines detection, a system that could detect and identify landmines and also help excavate or remove landmines. They're focused on Cambodia and Vietnam, but the residue of landmines, which is TNT, they could also be applied here in the United States. So their prototype could also be applied here. And they presented their work at Congress and the White House because they entered a national competition and were selected as the top 10 in the world. Sorry, not in the world, in the country. They were selected as the top 10 in the country. They worked on life on land. Goal number 16, peace and justice and strong institutions. How can we use technology to ensure we have peace, justice, and strong institutions? Sorry, this is the second time I'm recording this video. Recorded it the first time and it failed to convert. So this is my second go at this. Goal number 17, how can we ensure that we form collaborative spaces to partner to achieve all the goals? So those are the 17 UNSDGs in a nutshell. I hope that you can spend additional time just researching on them. There's lots of materials available on the internet regarding UNSDGs. So what I want you to do in your teams, and please, I'm not assessing this, I'm not going to grade this activity, but it's important because it will help you with the next task that you will be working on for your Lab 3. I'd like you in your teams, as individuals in your teams, to go through the UNSDGs, identify about 3 or 4 that you're personally interested in, that resonates with you, that you feel you'd like to work on. Then, as a team, come together, talk about each person's SDG of interest, and put all SDGs on the table that each of your teammates brought with them to the meeting or are interested in, and then select 2 of those SDGs. And I'd like you to kind of identify SDGs of interest. So if 2 people or 3 people all had goal number 7, so well, that's an interesting one. Most people are kind of interested in that. And in doing so, we would ensure that the SDGs that you pick for your team are SDGs that everyone on the team is interested in. I'm going to create a Microsoft Teams channel for your Lab 3 project, and I hope that you will carry out this conversation on Microsoft Teams. Of course, please feel free to have your Zoom meetings or your video meetings on Microsoft Teams. I think that is quite an effective way to communicate and have your meetings. And next week, we will continue to unpack the SDGs, and we'll be focusing on the SDGs that each of the teams have identified. Please, in your Microsoft Teams chat, just at the end by next week, Thursday, make sure you just put the 2 SDGs that your team is interested in working on in your Microsoft Teams channel. And I will come around each of the Microsoft Teams channel to take a look at the SDGs that each team is interested in working on. Thank you for watching the video, and have a good day.